Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Glutton for Geekdom Live. My name's Nick James. Today we're going to be talking about Fatman on Batman. That's right, this is a web episode on a podcast page talking about another podcast. But it's only fair that I do this because we gave a shout out to Kevin Smith as a spark for this inspiration. But this show itself gave me another really good one, and I'm going to get to that in a second. Really quick, if you love Batman the Animated Series, you will love Fatman on Batman. He has almost everybody who worked on it there, so you got episodes with Paul Dini, Bruce Timm, voice actors such as Mark Hamill, Kevin Conroy, Tara Strong, she was Batgirl. You got a lot of people on there, Paul Dini, Bruce Timm, I said. Jim Lee was on there, Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil, Jeff Johns did one, Burt Ward, Adam West, so pretty much anybody who's associated with Batman, you can go and get a one-on-one interview, and that's why as a podcast, I'm pimping out another podcast because, though now they kind of get into new stuff and you can kind of get a similar content, I don't think as of right now, hopefully in the future, I'm not saying never, but I can't talk to Bruce Timm right now, so if you want to hear an awesome one-on-one with Bruce Timm, any other people that I just said, you can go ahead and do that on theirs. Also, I'll start at my top 5, and this is why Kevin Conroy goes on. And he just has an amazing episode with Kev, and he just talks to him really openly about where it came from, how he started, where it got to be, and he has a line in it that just fills me and, kind of made something snap in my head and made this kind of all seem to point in a direction of where I should be going and give me my true north. And it was a really great episode because all of Kevin says, and the reason I know that he won't sue me and be like, how dare you get up there and do this, is because his art gave me a way to express myself. So, and that's what he always wants. He says, why would you ever not give an artist a hand up or give them a compliment? It takes nothing out of your life, and that can inspire them to give you the next thing that you love. So always, if there's somebody in your life and you help them create what they love to do, that's, it's the biggest compliment you can give, and that's all I'm doing right here. So, so it started back in 2012. I don't think I got into it till a little bit after that, maybe 14. So through there, they've had almost 154 episodes. So my favorites are Kevin Conroy, episode 11. Like I said, number 1. Number 2, they get Mark Hamill on there. He played the Joker, if you don't know, and he's got excellent stories. And of course, Kevin is a Star Wars geek, so he gets some stuff out of him. They try to stick to the Joker mostly. That's episodes 2 and 3, though. The first one's Paul Dini. He didn't make the cut. He was close. Paul Dini's on it a lot. They go through his episode Heart of Ice, which I've mentioned a few times. That's the one that got them the Emmy win. And it's all about Nora Freeze and Mr. Freeze. And like you said, if you saw the Joe Schumacher with Arnold, that was one of the only good points about it, is because they brought that pretty much right to life with her and the Gino tubing or whatever. So after that, Grant Morrison. If you don't know Grant Morrison, he is from, I want to say Ireland, but I think it's Scotland. It's one of the two, so he's got that really great accent. That's a little too much. No, that's horrible. But he's just, at first you'd think that it was going to be really hard to listen and understand his accent because it's pretty thick. But the more you listen to it, the better it gets. And you find yourself, if you're doing something, you find yourself stopping. And somebody's like, what are you doing? And you're like, oh God, I forgot I was doing something, because his story just goes on and his accent pulls you in. So if you just want to get to those, specifically Grant Morrison is a wonderful, wonderful storyteller, master of words. Episodes 26, 27, and 44. They are amazing. Really, Grant Morrison will blow your mind or just blow something out your butt. He's a fantastic guy. Walt Flanagan is Comic Book Man on AMC. If you watch that, Walt Flanagan, he also wrote Cacophony and, or he drew, excuse me, Kevin wrote, and he drew Cacophony and, oh gosh, what's the first one? I just had it out the other day. That one is, The Widening Gyre. Geez, sorry people. The Widening Gyre, they're working on the third one right now as far as I know. And it's going to come out soon. But Walter Flanagan goes on for episodes 6 and 10, and Walter Flanagan is the guy who got him back into comics. As Kevin tells the story, he started working at the rec center with Walt, and the only thing that they ever said to one another is, oh, you like comics? Yeah, me too. I wrote a paper, Kevin said, about Batman, and do you want to read it? And it was all about the 66 version of Batman. So, they had the weird maid kind of butler lady who was in there, And Walt went, this is not Batman. You know what? I'm going to show you Batman. And gave him a copy of this. And it blew Kevin's like, this is Batman? Because, I mean, if you look inside of it, if you don't know the book, jeez. Just any page you flip to is masterful to look at. Wonderfully done. And he was like, this is what comics is now? Because he got out of it. And he had self-admittedly gets into it saying, you know, I got out of it to try to get girls. You know, nobody gets girls and reads comics. And that's not true anymore. You know, all these guys who I just listed, you know, they probably all have women and wives and stuff like that because they got money now. And tell me Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pratt, they're into comics. I bet they get girls if they want them. Continue on down. So that was episode 6 and 10. Ralph, or Walt Flanagan, really gets into it with them. Knows a rich history of Batman. They get into a lot of, like, how about you go through your favorite stories? And at one point I went through all those favorite stories that they recommended, and it's all good stuff. They know what they're talking about. And you can also tell that this relationship between them, like, this is the billionth time they have talked about this. And it's still as if it's their first. You know, they still just connect really well, bounce off one another, have great conversation. And the last is Ralph Garman, then, another person who does a podcast with Kevin Smith called Hollywood Babylon. It's really funny, and one of Ralph's main impressions that he does is a spot on Adam West. He is the biggest Batman 66 fan, so much so that Kevin got him and Ralph a job writing, and the Batman 66 is, or meets the Green Hornet is the outcome, and it's got beautiful Alex Ross cover art, I believe, and it's really cool. Great story. As of right now, I believe they also met the Green Hornet. They met the Wonder Woman, as far as I believe, and though there's no confirmed proof, the way they tell it is that they were in the room where they're like, hey, you know, Burt Ward and Adam West, you should really have them do their voices for an animated, and the guys went, okay. And then they never called them again. But as we know, Batman Return of the Cave Crusaders has Robin and Burt Ward and Adam West doing it. So maybe they kind of get screwed at it. I'm not saying anybody did. I don't know. I wasn't there. But Ralph Garman jumps on for episode 9 and 12. And you also hear one of the sweetest stories ever of Ralph Garman getting a handmade bat suit that his mom altered for him all the way up until college. And she made him a bat cave, because she saw what was available on the shelf. She went, I could do better, and did better, and made it. And it's one of the sweetest stories about a mom, like, really just bringing him up, and, you know, it's awesome. I obviously have similar support because I was allowed to keep all this stuff, and people know what I do now, and everybody seems to be supporting me, and support by family is everything you need. So shout out to everybody who's been supporting me lately. So, thank you. That was Fatman on Batman. Go ahead and listen to it. It's all up on iTunes. Kevin Smith, again, he gets high a lot. So he really is just quiet as these people talk. I mean, if you hear Kevin Smith, he likes to talk, but no, he's sitting there just, okay, and then what? And he's just letting these people just talk and talk. So it's good. Later on in the episodes, it's like I said, you know, I just want to stick to the earlier ones where he gets all of the interviews, because the interviews themselves, they're just rather genius. You can find his stuff on YouTube, but also on YouTube is our stuff. Go, if you're on YouTube, Gluttons for Geekdom, look that up. If you're on Instagram, we're Gluttons for Geekdom. If you're on Twitter, we're Gluttonous Geeks. Facebook, you might be there because this is here. If you don't want to type in any of that, just go to the watch more, learn more. Click those buttons, will be available to you more. I've been Nick James. Oh, exciting news. No, I have not been Nick James. Well, I have been, but not yet. They're coming here tonight. I'm going to have a Gluttonous reunion right here. We're going to go live again tonight when the three of us are ready to sit down here in the Glutton Cave. If you have a better name for it, let me know, you know, and don't really get on me. It didn't take Green Arrow a while to realize that he should have called his cave the Quiver, not the Arrow Cave. So if you have a better place for the Glutton Cave, let me know. But we're all going to be here. We're going to go live again. Then we're going to lay down some sweet, sweet podcasts for you for Sunday and next Sunday. We're going to go above and then beyond for everybody. New podcasts coming, Podbean, iTunes, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We're trying to get everywhere. We're trying to control everything, but not just yet. I've been Nick James. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a good one.